What's up, what's up? Kind of a low-key video today, but most trendy indeed. Today we're focusing on red flags, which is the phenomenon that's taking over social media these days. Everybody's talking about it. What are red flags that you should look out for? And I want to focus on red flags that are in your dating life, red flags that are in your professional life, and also red flags that are in your social life, okay? Because we all want that higher self-purpose, that love, wealth, happiness that comes from good relationships. So in order to get that, you have to be aware of what the red flags are that you should be avoiding. And by the way, if you're new to the channel, I put out videos twice a week on subjects just like this. I also go deeper in content on this channel as well. So be sure to press the notification bell to get notified of new videos when they pop up, or subscribe to the channel if you are brand new. So without any further ado, let's crack into it. What is a red flag? As defined by the Oxford Dictionary, I don't know what the actual definition is, but from what I understand it, a red flag is something that puts you on alert about a person. Something that you should be aware of, that is a warning sign of future bad things to come. So for example, if somebody's always coming home late and they're not returning phone calls and they smell like alcohol on their breath constantly, then that could be a red flag that they are becoming an alcoholic, or they have some drug problems that are happening, or something's going on in their life, right? It's just basically a warning sign. Now, the challenge that I have about red flags, especially when it comes to dating and interpersonal relationships, is that they're not always red flags. The opposite side of a red flag is that we don't take personal responsibility for what's going down, what's happening. We just say, oh, it's a red flag. I'm not gonna challenge myself to resolve the problem or talk to them about it. It's just a red flag. But even if you have a red flag, you should still challenge yourself to have a conversation with the person about that particular red flag. And that's what we're talking about in this video today, how to just resolve these red flags as well. So the first red flag you would have, sort of like in a dating relationship situation, is where somebody is just texting you only late at night on their schedule. You know, it's like the 11 o'clock text, what you doing? Are you busy or you around? And that's because they just care about working on things in their own schedule, their own time. You're like a last minute resort. Now, if this goes on a few times, the way I would handle the situation, I'd say, hey, listen, my schedule is very important to me and I care about people I'm around, and also I want to hang out with you as well. So it would really help us both out to have the best quality time by maybe planning something in advance. How about this Wednesday, there's this concert at 7 p.m. How about that? Okay, so that's an option you have right there. What's another red flag? Yeah, I'm still hanging out with my ex, but we're just friends. That's a dangerous thing, right? Because whenever you hang out with an ex, there's still some history that's there. You may not be in a romantic relationship anymore, but there is still history that existed at one time. And it's not gonna go anywhere. That person meant something to them at some point in their life. You can't deny the red flag is there, but the person might. I'll tell you a quick story here. I had an ex a long time ago, and she got an iPhone from her boyfriend, who was in jail of all places, right? And the boyfriend was so smooth, man. He was so slick. He decided to get her name engraved on the phone when he sent it to her. So here's the smart part of what he did. She said to me,
I can't return the phone. It's got my name engraved in it. I can't give it back to iPhone. It's not refundable.
So he kind of locked her in and knew that she couldn't get rid of the phone. A really smart guy, right? Probably how you end up in jail. But, somebody hanging out with their ex or being involved with their ex, the ex still might want their clutches in them. So if they're hanging out with their ex one-on-one, that's obviously a no. If they're hanging out with their ex in a group of friends, maybe that can be okay, depending on the situation, right? So how do you have that conversation? Well, maybe something like along the lines of, I noticed you've been hanging out along with your ex lately. What's been going on there? I'm just curious, let me know. You could talk to me about anything. Okay, well, here's how the situation makes me feel. What can we do about it, right? And make it sort of like a compromise situation. You both come together and you're working it out to find a conclusion that's a win-win situation there. For me, another red flag personally can be when somebody says out of their 5 love languages, you might have heard about these, as they're like gift giving, physical touch, acts of service, quality time, and I think words, okay? If out of the 5 love languages, somebody says their love language is gifts, that could be a concern for me. It's a red flag, because what that means is they're gonna expect to receive gifts before they give anything else out to you. So that's the standard that they're gonna want before any of your standards or needs are being met. Quality time is sometimes like that as well, but you do have to spend time with somebody, so that's understandable. But gifts is the one that I'm concerned about the most. So when I hear that, the question could be, you would usually ask back would be, what do you bring to the table? Now, this is kind of a weird question to ask because it puts a person in a defensive position. And I don't like to do that. You're never going to influence anybody by putting them in a defensive position. So a better way to ask them, what do you bring to the table is, okay, so on the first date or second date, when you're trying to get to know somebody better, how do you make sure that they're enjoying it? How do you make sure that they feel appreciated and loved? And if they don't have a good answer for that, then it's not a date that you want to go on. Now, what would be some red flags that you can look out for when it comes to your work environment, your career? This is going to be especially important for you if you're at a associate level or a manager level, if you're just kind of like in the intermediate sort of position in your work. So in your career, what I look out for is when a boss comes to you and that boss gives you too much work to do in a short period of time. This actually is a reference to a book I know called Career Warfare, which is all about surviving the workplace drama and warfare. So when a boss gives you too much amount of work in a short period of time, they know it can't be done. Let's say it's this huge project, usually takes a month to do, they give it to you in a week's time frame. This means most likely that they're trying to get rid of you. They're trying to overload you to eventually fire you. They're trying to look for reasons to fire you, okay? So that usually happens. You got to learn to not outshine the master, right? Maybe there's something that you did in the past that offended your boss, got on their bad side, and you got to find a way to make them shine. So find something else that you can do for them to help them look great to their superiors. That's what I would do in that situation. What's another red flag? Well, possibly when your same boss decides to not give you that review that you've been waiting for, okay? Maybe you're supposed to have reviews 4 times a year. So it's every quarter, every 4 months you have a review. And the review gets delayed. There can be a lot of reasons for that. And some might not have directly to do with you, but it is a red flag. Because it could be that you're not getting the money that you're promised. It could be that they're having internal company issues about staffing and who's gonna be in what position. There's a lot of reasons about it, but a lot of reasons could happen, but it doesn't change the fact that it's not a good thing. If everything was in tip-top shape, they'd be able to have that review for you and also talk about the promotion that might be coming up. So in that situation, just gotta be patient but press on a little bit about this review you're trying to get and try to get everything you can prepared for that review so it's easier for your boss or manager to complete it. So now we've finished the red flags that have to do with your career and your work life. Let's talk about your interpersonal relationships. The first one is when a friend has to borrow money from you, which doesn't seem like a red flag altogether because we all go through hard times. I know that I've been there and I've asked to borrow money from friends in the past, like many years ago, right? But the thing that I really needed at this time wasn't the money. It was a system that would be able to make more money for me, right? Like, so what I needed was not like a quick $1,000. What I really needed was like, if Uber had existed back then, it was like, I would have needed a car to drive Uber. That really would have been amazing, right? Because I would have been able to like have that system to generate cash all through the night, all through the morning, anytime I was available. And I was available a lot, right? The people that need money, the problem they have is not they don't have enough time, so they don't have enough cash and a system to develop it. So whenever somebody does ask you to borrow money, that is a red flag. But the best thing you can do is help them to develop a system for it right now. I can even think of myself, even like very lately, even like last month, I lent some money to somebody for their rent. And in my mind, I'm already kind of processing that I'm not going to get that money back. I'm kind of like processing that money is gone. It's like burnt. And it was like $600 I lent them for rent. And I'm like, okay, pretend that money, you just never see it. Pretend it's gone. Would you still lend them that amount of money? So, whenever somebody comes to you to ask for money, go through that process in your head of like, are you okay with losing it? Pretending it's just burnt. And also go through the process in your head of like, well, what's the system that can help them implement in their life so they can actually make cash? Because it's not about this one time of them needing money. Because if I give them money one time, here's the problem. They're going to come back again and again and again and again and ask for it because their safety net still has that hole in it. Another red flag I would give you regarding your social life is if your friends start to hang out a lot without you. If, let's say you introduce 2 groups of people together, they hang out, that's fine. But if they start to hang out a lot, like excluding you, maybe they're starting to believe something about you that might not be true, okay? So either they believe you don't like them, they're either subconsciously telling themselves a story that, you just don't have an interest in what they're doing, or they're making something up in their mind, right? They're coming to some sort of conclusion about you, and that's why they're not hanging out with you as much. They think you're too busy, or they think that you're too good for them. Like, it could be a bunch of things. Who really knows? So the best way to kind of handle that is to sit down with, both sides of the guys, or either side separately. I would say both sides together, to be honest, if you could, but it's hard because you're not around them, right? But sit down with them, it's like, hey, I noticed such and such has been hanging out with you guys a lot, or you've been hanging with so and so a lot. I noticed I haven't been. Have you guys noticed that I'm not around that? Have you guys noticed that I haven't been there? I was curious, what's your side of the story about that? And listen to what they have to say, hear their side of the story, say thank you for sharing that. Now here's how I feel, and just tell how you feel, and that's it. And they are your true friends. There is no devious intentions there. They'll be able to talk to you and figure out how they can make you feel better, because they don't want you to feel bad. That wasn't their intention. They can make you feel better to come to a solution, and everybody just kind of wins and gets back together, okay? So these are just a sample of some of the scripts that I have to deal with situations in life, whether it's romantically, workplace, socially with friends. There's even some that you can use to help your health when you're going to a gym or finding a trainer, what you should look for there, your workplace, whatever your higher purpose is. There's conversations you can have for every area. Because the great psychologist Adler says, every problem in life is an interpersonal problem. Every problem has to do with other people. So if you don't have the money that you want, it has to do with other people. Because people give you money, they exchange stuff. If you have the relationships you want, obviously it's with other people. The friendships, the health that you want, you learn health from other people, right? So if you can fix your interpersonal problems and your relationship problems, and your communication problems, you will fix your life, all right? So I have a new program that's going to be coming out soon regarding influence, and I want to get you guys hyped up for that, all right? It's going to be very, very exciting. And as for the moment, right now, we have a special Black Friday sale that's going on. It's our best Black Friday special offer ever, where you can get my conversation mentoring. It's an 8-week mentoring program. You can get that for a dramatically reduced price. I can't even remember the price. It's something like 70% off. It's something ridiculous. Usually it sells in the thousands of dollars. It's dirt cheap right now, okay? And I walk you through 8 weeks of harnessing every area of your life, your inner psychology, your outer psychology, the way you see the world, your patterns of communication, how you express yourself, your aspirational contacts, what are certain things that you can use to get into higher value social circles and higher value groups, what are your goals for those groups, and once you eventually have those skills, I just list it down and go through it in extreme detail, okay? So this is actually the best program I've ever made up to this point, and it took 10 years to make this program, and I know the content's only going to get better. But for Black Friday, we've never reduced this. We're putting it on sale for you right now. So check that out. Link is here, link is down below. And if you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and click in the left or the right corner, and we'll pop up some more videos on conversation and influence. That's it for now. As always, keep in touch and don't be a dumb talker. Get smooth, baby. Get smooth and work on your conversation skills. Cheers.